Hi everyone, this video is for beginning clarinet players. Clarinet in the beginning is a little bit overwhelming for a number of different reasons. One having to do with the reed, the mouthpiece, all the different parts. So this video is hopefully just going to clarify a few things for all of you beginning clarinet players out there, and hope that you can use this when you're practicing those early lessons and see if you can make some progress this week. So first thing we're going to start with is our reed. I always start with this before I do anything. I want to put this reed in my mouth to get it soaking while I'm actually doing something else. So I'm going to talk to you with this reed in my mouth just because I need to get my reed wet too. I recommend to start that students use a Rico reed. It's just a brand name, R-I-C-O, Rico. 2.5 is the strength that you probably want. This is a good strength to start with. It will allow the student to make a really good sound, but it's still playable. Reeds can come in all different strengths. If they're weaker than 2.5, sometimes you end up with a fuzzier sound, and if it's harder than 2.5, upwards of 3, 3.5, 4, it's usually too hard for those muscles to actually do what they're supposed to do to get a good sound on it. So 2.5 on the reed, I'm going to put it in my mouth. And then after you have the reed in your mouth, you're going to take your mouthpiece and your barrel. Now, if you have cork grease, I would highly recommend putting cork grease on the cork, at least at the beginning, until it really goes on easily, because if you are having to really jam the parts together, you're probably going to damage something. So when you take your cork grease, it's that little tube of chapstick type thing. You're going to put a little bit of grease here, and then you're going to take your fingers and actually rub it in like this. It's not like, chapstick where you would just kind of rub it once and be done with it. You really need to rub it in. It makes your fingers a little greasy. You have to get a paper towel and wipe it off. So I'm going to put my mouthpiece and my barrel together all the way. I'm going to get my ligature. And I'm going to start with the ligature. The whole of the mouthpiece is here. I don't know if you can see that very well. And the ligature screws are going to be here. So we really want to line up those ligature screws so that they aren't sideways on the clarinet or too high or too low. Most mouthpieces have a tiny, you can't really see it in my video here, but there's a tiny little line right here. So I want to have the ligature down that far. Then when I put my reed on, the writing on the reed is going to go face down on the mouthpiece underneath the ligature. So what I usually do is I just pull the ligature up so it creates some space, and then I slide the reed underneath. This is the tricky part. You're going to actually hold the reed in place. Line it up to the very, very, very top of, there we go, okay. Very top of the mouthpiece, nice and straight. And then I'm going to take my ligature and I'm going to push it down. This can actually go a little bit lower. So if I need to get my ligature lower, I'm going to loosen it until it's in place. And really make sure that that's right at the very top and straight on your mouthpiece. And then you're going to tighten those ligature screws a little bit just so that you can kind of feel them tighten. Check your reed again. I'm always checking the reed. So when you set it up, you should really have it be right at the very top. All right, now mouth position. Your mouth position is really important because this is what's going to allow you to make the sound. So your bottom lip needs to be totally over your teeth. And you're going to notice I'm pulling my lips back, kind of like when I say the word we. I'm actually getting my lips back like that. The lip is going to be over the teeth. Totally. And then my top teeth, you're not going to be able to see this because I can't x-ray my mouth when I'm actually using the mouthpiece, but you're going to tuck your lip under. Your teeth are going to bite down right on that mouthpiece. Not really hard. You just want it to come down so that it comes in contact with the mouthpiece. Then my lips are going to close, and I'm going to keep my lips back. That will help my cheeks from puffing, especially when the air is coming a little bit fast. So the amount of mouthpiece you're going to take in your mouth is going to be about this much. If you take too much, it's going to be a big squawk. And if you take too little, you're not going to get a sound at all. So you're going to tuck this under, Teeth are going to be down. Close with the top lip, keeping my lips back, and then gently blow. And that should be the sound you get. If you get something like this, that's too much. If you get something like this, that's actually closing off the reed completely and the air doesn't go through. So lower lip under, put that reed right against your lip, teeth down, close, blow. And that should be a pretty good start. If you can do that on your mouthpiece, that's really good start. All right, I'm going to put my mouthpiece and barrel aside, and I'm going to assemble the rest of the clarinet from the bottom up. So I'm going to start with the barrel. This is not the barrel, this is the bell. And then the larger of the two joints has a cork on this side and no cork on the other side. This is important to know because the bell is going to go into the cork side. And what's tricky about this particular joint are all the keys that are everywhere on this. So what I try to do is find a place where I'm not going to be squishing down the side keys here. I want to try to get my fingers on the finger holes as I put these two pieces together. So there's the cork. Again, grease, 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 grease. Take your grease, put it on here, rub it in. Mine are pretty greased, so I don't really need to do that right now. And then barrel goes in, and you're going to turn and push at the same time. As long as it's greased, that should go together pretty easily. All right, next joint actually has two corks. There are two corks on this joint, one here, one here. Now, all of you guys would have some sort of writing at the top of your clarinet on this joint. That is going to be the top where the mouthpiece goes in. So the bottom part here is what we're lining up with this bottom joint. And notice how I'm going to be lining up my finger holes. So I have finger holes here, and then the finger holes here. I'm going to hold the bottom of my clarinet where there aren't keys, and I'm going to hold right here in the middle. There is a key that goes up and down, and that key actually moves that lever right there, up and down. So I'm going to press that down, hold my finger holes here, and then I'm going to line up, turn, and push. I'm not spinning it around. I'm just turning it and pushing it together. And that way, that little lever that we just talked about is going to line up. And you just check and make sure your finger holes are lined up now. They're pretty lined up. And then our cork at the top is for our mouthpiece. So this is already together. I would recommend giving it another lap, though, because your reed's probably dry after just sitting there for like 30 seconds. So your reeds definitely need to be wet in order for it to play. You don't have to like drench it, but it's got to be not dry. All right, now your reed is actually going to face you. Finger holes are going to be away from you. So when you line it up and push it together, you're going to have a straight line, no reed here, this is the front of the mouthpiece, with your finger holes. I'm going to look at it because I have a hard time looking at that mirror while I'm doing that. And notice how the reed is on the back and the reed is going to line up with your thumb hole. So there we go. We're together now. All right, now your left hand, this is probably going to be hard to see because I'm on a camera right now, but your left hand is going to be always on the top of the clarinet and your right hand is always going to be on the bottom. But your right hand really doesn't do much at the beginning. I just want y'all to make sure that your thumb is underneath the thumb rest here and the fingers on the front are just kind of resting above the keys. They don't push any of these keys down. You're not going to need that to start. They do need to be in this position though. It's going to help with the weight of the clarinet. Then your thumb, your left thumb, is going to go over this thumb hole completely. It's going to touch that. Fingers need to be rounded so that we don't bump into the side keys. So thumb hole is going to be here. And then first finger is going to close this hole right here. And again, the rest of the fingers are going to try to just rest around the keys. They're not going to push anything down. I don't want to see fingers up here like that because that just makes more tension for you and it's way harder to play. So you want to try to get that C position with your hands. It takes some time to get your fingers to relax, but thumb here, first finger here. All right, now give your reed another lap because it's dry. And then we're going to do that same mouth position we did before. So bottom lip gets tucked under your teeth, over your teeth I should say. Teeth are going to come down. My thumb is down, My first finger is down. Teeth are down. Lip closes. And gently blow. Now, if you get this sound, too much mouthpiece. The clarinet will tell you every time when you're not doing it right. So back up, do the same thing. Now, if any of you guys are puffing your cheeks out there, that just means that you need to keep those corners back like you're saying we. And if you get no sound, that usually means you need to take a little more mouthpiece in your mouth. Just a little bit will go a long way. And that is the note E, which for most of you guys will be the note that you start with in the book that you're using. There are some books out there that start with G, which doesn't have anything down, but the one that I use in my class starts with E, thumb and first finger down. Make sure your left hand is up on the top. Again, we'll do lip cover the teeth, teeth come down, and close. And that should get you a pretty good start if you practice like that a little bit. I'd say, even the clarinet, putting it together can take some time. So 10 to 15 minutes a day would go a long way for you and your teacher. And if you have any questions, you can email me at smithkr@westbrookschools.org, or feel free to call me here at Westbrook Middle School. Good luck. Let me know if you need anything. Bye.